Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nato Hambone, and this is a short review, and today we will be looking at Pacific Rim. Where do I start? Guillermo del Toro, one of my favorite directors. I knew of his work. I was introduced to him through the first Hellboy film. That was my first introduction to him. And ever since then, I've been a fan of Guillermo del Toro. His work with practical effects and modern day filmmaking is astounding to me. Also, Pan's Labyrinth, one of my all-time favorite dark fantasy. It probably is my favorite dark fantasy film of all time. But when I first heard that he was going to do this film, and when I heard what the story was about, I immediately got excited. I immediately just went, "Woo! Oh, what's it going to be like? How's it going to be?" And then all of a sudden, the promotional images and the trailers came out, and he was swinging for. I could see that he was swinging for the fences. I mean, just going long and not caring. And going in, I didn't know what to expect entirely, but I knew I was going to be in for a good ride. Opening credits. The opening of the film. I was hooked from the very opening. Me, being a child of the 90s, I was born in 88, but I grew up in the 90s mostly. Power Rangers came out in 1993 when I was 5 years old. Yeah, you heard right. Power Rangers came out when I was 5, and I was a fan, okay? I was a silly kid. I couldn't help but be attracted to it because it had martial arts and had bright flashy colors and cool weapons and fights with big monsters and everything. But I noticed a lot of things, a lot of problems with it now that I'm grown up. But I look back on it and I really don't frown. I just smile because hey, I was a kid. We all do stupid stuff when we're kids. You know that giddy, excited feeling you got whenever a new episode was coming on and you knew that and you were just excited to see what was going to happen? That's how I felt when this film opened up. My fists were clenched and I was just shaking. I was like all giddy and everything. It was like I was a little kid again, and I love that. I love that feeling. Very few films have actually made me feel that way. This one really catapulted me into the into the deep with my giddiness. But anyway, starting out, we're introduced to Raleigh Beckett. Not Riley Beckett, Raleigh Beckett, same as in Raleigh, North Carolina, played by Charlie Hunnam. Now, Charlie Hunnam, you may remember him from Sons of Anarchy, and me, I remember him from that, and I also remember him, the first film I ever saw him in was Green Street, or Green Street Hooligans. And he is really good at covering up his American accent. He's English. Charlie Hunnam is English, but he's done a really good job of covering up his accent. I can't tell. I really can't. And then we also have Idris Elba playing Commander Patterson. He has an authoritative look to him. Seeing him in a uniform, and if he were just to stand in front of me and go, "Men, we are going into battle," and me, I would just be like, "Yes, sir, we are. I will follow you to hell." Yeah. But yeah, he has a very authoritative look to him, and Idris Elba, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but maybe it's Idris Elba because it's an I instead of an E. But Idris Elba, he's really good in this film. Charlie Hunnam's really good in this film, and then we have Rinko Kinkuchi who plays Mako Mori. Mako. Don't sue me for that, Doug. I'm sorry. I just had to put it in there because, well, I can see that as a bit of a tribute. Mako Mori, the character, named after Mako the actor. But this film, gosh, I'm trying to stay on topic, guys. I'm sorry. We're introduced to these characters, and we're also introduced to the kaiju and the Jaegers. The kaiju are these monsters that abruptly erupt from this fissure in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And then we also have the Jaegers, the giant robots that were designed to fight back. And the Jaegers are awesome. The different types of Jaegers they have, I can't say anything bad about it. I really can't because the different types of Jaegers are really good. Anyway, back to the characters. Raleigh Beckett, we're introduced to him. He's a pilot who has a history with the Jaeger program and fighting the kaijus, him and his brother. And then we have then Mako Mori, who is a bit of a prodigy herself when it comes to fighting in the simulator. But herself, she's wanting to be a pilot, but she also has a history with the kaiju that is very detrimental to her being the person that she is. And then also we have Charlie Day, Charlie Day as Newt, as Dr. Newt, Dr. Newton, who is a manic kaiju enthusiast who sees the kaiju and is just baffled by them, just in all entirety. And he's like a rock and roll kind of guy. He wants to get in there. He's just manic. And then we have Burn Gorman playing Dr. Gottlieb, who is the polar opposite. I swear. If you draw the synonym and antonym, it would be Dr. Newton and Dr. Gottlieb. The two are polar opposites, but Burn Gorman as Dr. Gottlieb, he is Mr. He's the classical scientist, the bookworm, I guess. He is him and Newton. They're often at each other's edge of reason and edge of sanity. Neither one can stand the other, but yet they must work together in order to figure out how to beat the kaiju entirely. And I love that parallel. That parallel between Charlie Day and Burn Gorman is just awesome. And then we have the ever important staple in a Guillermo del Toro production, Ron friggin' Perlman. Ron Perlman as Hannibal Chow. That was a fun little thing. I couldn't help but just smile because it's Ron Perlman. Come on. Oh gosh. Also, just the atmosphere that's set by this. Just this. You see the varying sides of war. You see how it is whenever you're winning, whenever everything is going your way and nothing can stand in your way. At least that's what you think. And then you have the side where things aren't going so well. The tide has turned and your men aren't coming home. And I could feel this in this film. I could feel the emotion that war does truly take. But anyway, the film, on the edge of my seat the entire time, just I can't say anything else. Afterthoughts. I really can't see a sequel to this. I really can't. They pretty much tied. To me, I really can't see a sequel to this. Guillermo del Toro, whose production and pre-production history is scattered everywhere. He was the original director of The Hobbit. He had several other projects. He even had a video game project in works for some time, Insane, which I was sad to hear that they had to stop production of it because THQ fell apart. But this film, to me, it is a massive achievement for him in terms of scale and scope, and I really wish the story, I felt could have been stretched out over 3 films comfortably. Very comfortably. It could have been stretched out over 3 films, and you'd have had different parts, and you'd have had different character interactions, and you would have seen the progression better. But for what they did for 1 film, I cannot help but just applaud the production of this film. Guillermo del Toro, he's moving on to his next project. Whatever it is, I guarantee you I will be one of those people who'll be like, yes, whatever it is, I'm in. Travis Beacham, the co-writer of this film, he's actually becoming pretty big now because of this film, and I hope and pray that he continues to find success, because if this is a sample of what he is capable of, heck yes. But I wish I could say I want to see a sequel for this, but if they did, they'd have to just destroy the great impact that this film had with it at the end. They would have to just destroy that. And I hope if they do come up with a good sequel idea and they go through with it, then by all means. But for what they've done here, I'd be happy if they don't make a sequel. I would be very happy if they didn't make a sequel. So other than that, if you're wondering why it took me so long to do a short review, it's because I couldn't really think of anything that would make me want to do a review. White House Down, I feel like I've done already with Olympus Has Fallen, and from what I hear, it's not that good. But I might be wrong. I'd say that's about it for me. I have gone on enough. I've spent everything I can in terms of going to this film. I want to just say thank you, Guillermo, for making me feel this again, making me feel this giddiness as a child, like a child again. Thank you for that. And whatever your plans are for the future, I wish you well, and I hope you keep doing what you're doing, man, because you're doing great by me. Anyway, this is Nate, and this has been a short review, and I will see you later. And yeah, see you later.